I'm not that. That's actually why I ended up putting a pause on the content I was creating for this channel. Hi, welcome back to whatever this is. My name is Kaysa. I'm online. And today I'm going out on this venture to completely redo, or essentially stop the start of and reconstruct my entire YouTube channel. Previously, I wanted to be a gaming channel. Oh my God, please, wait, I'm so sorry. Wait, no, please. But I realized that I like to stream video games and playing games in a social aspect, but I don't want my channel to be based in gaming. I don't want to have a gaming channel. Maybe you'll come to my channel in regards to finding gaming content, but I want it to be so much more. And all of this is also stemming from the beginning of my journey into getting into content creation and streaming. And I found that content creation in terms of creating YouTube videos versus streaming are two different worlds for me, at least. Of course, other people are able to manage it differently. Some people who are only interested in gaming only want to do more and more gaming content, but I am not one of those people. And I think it's important now to establish the content that I want to create moving forward, which is far more in a space where I can sit down and talk to you directly. Now, of course, I have gaming videos where I tried to make, and I've uploaded those, and you can definitely still check them out. I don't plan on taking those down anytime soon, but at some point you'll see I try to dip into a video analysis, and I'd actually prefer to do an analysis. But I don't want to focus again on video games. I am not centered around video games. That's not necessarily my niche by any means. So I definitely want to pivot now that I notice that's where my content is actually going to go, before I try to dive into gaming content and get dissatisfied and it's been years and maybe I do build a following or something of sorts and it's all about gaming, and then I have to worry about people falling off or not interested or not exactly knowing how to create the content that I want to make from the beginning. Which brings to this video here, where I kind of want to do an analysis of my first experiences getting into both content creation and streaming. It's mainly going to be streaming narrative wise in terms of this conversation that we're going to have, understanding what I'm getting into, but a lot of the same things apply to creating YouTube. So this is from me to you, the first few things that I encountered, of which may have seemed obvious to you, but it still puts a lot of pressure on somebody getting into content creation and streaming on their own. So the main thing that I wanted to start off was by posing a question. And the main question comes from a lot of frustration, because why does everyone want to become a content creator if all they end up doing is being the most boring and self-promoting bots? There's no way that you haven't noticed the increase in ads, self-promotions, and bots. So many bots. Social media has always been plagued with the issue of paid ads and not knowing who you're actually talking to on the internet. Everyone's a stranger. Everyone could be anybody, and anybody could be everyone at the same time. And it's become such a turmoil that recently there was a de-influencing trend that ended up being a different version of influencing by the end of the day. And that's all just to say that what we perceive on the internet obviously is not always reality. However, I'm here to talk about what the entry-level experience you'll have when getting into content creation that no one mentions a lot, probably because it's not necessarily something that's glamorized to really talk about. I do want to acknowledge that maybe this isn't something we should all worry about. YouTube and other platforms will continue the cycle of oversaturation and overexposed marketing, trying to find whomever may be interested in their latest product. The main problem with this is that this cycle of what I'll call social media dilution creates a major impact on those who are trying to find community within the spaces. I've noticed that when you're trying to build a community or find other communities to join, there are some major obstacles to sift through as a creator. I'm an introvert, by the way, not shy, an actual introvert. People and interactions do exhaust me to some extent. So when I say I'm ready to go home or I'm ready to clock out or go to bed, I'm ready. I'm just ready. I don't have the energy anymore. My battery has been drained. The social battery is what I'll call it, which is why I think streaming and content creation works for me, because I can just turn off my computer. I can put my phone on silent and then it just goes away. But sometimes people mix that up, say that they're an introvert, or that also means that they're shy. And yes, there are a lot of shy introverts, but I'm not one with a lack of social skills. I literally talk for a living. I put it in my bios. I yap for a living. I talk so much. This is not a social issue. Sorry to derail, go on my little side tangent, but that's just what it is. Sometimes people are exhausting, that's all. But I say this to acknowledge that in the entirety of my life, I've never invested in a social media presence until now, obviously. So I guess you could say in a lot of ways I've been one who's a lot more disconnected or aloof within the social media space. I guess you could say I'm more likely to be the ghost on the internet. And that's because I mainly had interests like Pinterest and YouTube. I like to view the content that I'm interested in. I don't always feel the need to interact or leave a comment or anything like that. It actually took me years before I actually made my first comment or like on YouTube videos, despite watching it for so many years. Funny enough. I wanted to double check this. So I did watch YouTube without an account for some years, and then with an actual account, it only took me like a month to make my first comment. When getting started trying to break into content creation, by the way, I stream on YouTube, Kick, Twitch, playing video games, like I said. Follow me on all my links in the description, please. I love to chat it up, hit me up on Discord, Twitter. It's the best ways to get direct contact with me. I typically respond, or you can always comment on YouTube videos. I'll definitely see them. I got my notifications on. And I think, it'd be fun if you come on to like my streaming and drop a duck in the chat. More than likely, I'm going to completely forget that I told you to do that from this video, and I'll be so confused. Side reel, self-promo, side reel. Talking about self-promos, and then I give myself a little self-promo. It's my platform. So in the pursuit of getting started with this, I got really lucky that people found me and that I found some people, right? It felt super difficult to get started with finding real people who actually love being in the space of streaming or just want to stream for the actual joy of it, rather than trying to make it a side hustle, quick buck, get my own following. And I really stream and create content as a form of socializing, like I said, but I do want to emphasize that this is the space that I want to be in. So this isn't some sort of forcing myself into a space as if that I don't understand that there is a grind to it and that there are bad sides to it. I mean, for example, I don't want to be the next KaySaOnline. Dear God, I hope to never have to deal with the things that he deals with in his daily life and everything like that. Or to become the next Mr. Beast. I don't want hundreds of millions of followers or anything like that. I actually don't even have an expectation to hit 1 million followers. 100,000 seems like a lot to me, to be honest, but what I wanted was to cultivate a community of like-minded people like me who are here to show up for me and the entertainment that may come from seeing me, just like everyone else on this entire platform. It's about sharing ourselves, kind of like a form of art. And I want to go back to a term that I said. I do want to explain the meaning. So in business, there's this term called oversaturation, where it just means too many competitors. Often many of them are too competitive. And this market of marketing one's self has become a lot more competitive, since now we don't just compete with each other, but we compete with the bots and the marketing that comes with it. And I'll explain why these two things may be affecting the way we build communities. As a side note, it's almost a business fallacy, I would say, to use oversaturation as a reason to not enter a market. The fact that a market has so much demand means there will always be someone out there potentially interested in your product or service. So the difficulty is the barrier to entry and getting noticed typically at first. When it comes to bots, they're almost self-explanatory. If there is no one really there, then there isn't a community to build off of. And when starting with streaming and content creation, I didn't have any expectations for me to immediately start a following by any means. I figured I'd be at 0, maybe even get to 10 within like a couple of months, right? There are a million factors that go into getting noticed, and it truly is a grind to an extent. Of course, there is strategy and things that you can do, better quality aspects and things. And that's why no one should go into content creation unless they have a love for the content they want to create. It is far less likely to go viral and get super noticed immediately. Eventually, it's about building something up. You have your rarer cases. I'm not that. Actually why I ended up putting a pause on the content I was creating for this channel. I love streaming games, but I didn't want a gaming channel. I may reach a different sort of audience between platforms, but I'd rather people recognize KaySaOnline as a content rather than be filed under gaming content. Also, I feel like I got lucky with having a space of having no real expectations for my channel, so I can immediately change it to what I want it to actually be moving forward. So as you can tell, I just have too many other things to talk about that I don't want to stream either. Sometimes it's just not gonna work. I don't think me in the just chatting room by myself talking about my experiences coming as a streamer I won't say it doesn't resonate with other people, but I just don't feel like that sort of format will allow me to articulate my thoughts the way that I want to. All this is to say is that the bots provided a new sort of confusion for me when I first got started. I wasn't used to the weird language of someone coming in to say, "Where do you live?" right after saying, "Hello, how are you?" Like, that isn't super creepy. Or being given a long paragraph about how they can help my channel build up because they think I'm oh so special and I'm doing super well. I understand that's been a thing. I've been on social media, people popping into the DMs with weird stuff, but I just didn't realize how frequent and how annoying it would be, but also in a lot of different ways tempting. It's a lot of these ways it's predatory to come on to the new people who aren't having a lot of momentum at the very beginning, and then trying to coerce them to essentially invest in these things, pay or not, even just investing with attention to do these things, right? And so, at first I was a little confused when they were like, "What's your Discord?" And two things would happen. One, I would think at first like, "Oh, this person's interested in actually engaging with me." Furthermore, it's not it, because they always try to go through a private chat, and it's just annoying, everything too. But also, I have a link for my Discord, so obviously you're a bot if you literally think you can't just go straight to the Discord, right? Through the link that I'm promoting, right? It's kind of crazy. It seems so obvious, but when you're on camera streaming for the first time trying to figure things out, despite how many hours you spent watching other people stream, it is more likely that you have not engaged with a new stream before. At least I haven't. I've only seen people who are already established. So these are things that were new to me, new experiences. And again, I've learned to put common phrases and, all these self-promoting bots into the banned words list, and it immediately definitely helped. It's still weird when they ask me to accept them, though, and all these different like question marks when I don't respond and things. And these bots, though annoying, seem never ending. Really odd to me that at this stage of the internet and social media, there are just more bots. It seems obvious on paper that there would be more bots, because if you're going to try to create an impenetrable system, there's going to be more and more people who are going to try to create systems to penetrate through. So it is what it is. But whether to troll or to beg for commissions, some bots now offer like a link to sell you bots to bring to your channel. Like they'll put a link and like viewers here cheap, real cheap, and it's just like, why is at least Twitch not regulated to automatically have that removed? Even with the basic settings, they just don't. Like, I don't understand. I understand that some links may be like, allowed, but sometimes it just doesn't make any sense that would just be there, at least to me. Maybe it's just is what it is, right? Maybe I'm just a target market for that because I have lower viewerships and things like that. But the other half of this is the cold messaging of graphic designers specifically, and I just wanted to share a little story. So when I first got on, and I mean very first really got on, like first week or so, I bought into it because I wanted a cute little character for myself, and I could appreciate the side hustle of, the cold messaging and sales and everything, right? And this is me being out of touch with social media, but also kind of a little bit of a harassment because all of them want to show up, targeting you because you have a low fan base or just a low viewership. You're brand new, you're a greenie, right? So truly, I wasted $100 thinking I'd use designs, but I don't, as you can tell. Still being too nice. I didn't want to say upfront that I didn't want to, that I wanted to, actually. I didn't want to say upfront that I wanted to completely start over a week after I approved the design itself. I also didn't want to be charged more if I did end up doing that. I had a feeling that there might come an extra charge, or I don't know. Even if that wasn't the case, I just felt like I got too far. I'm just gonna pay, and it is what it is, and I'll use whatever or not. I took that $100, like, that's just gone. In the end, the designer kept hounding me about the next steps, and I purposely stopped responding, or more like I took a break from responding because my answer wasn't going to change no matter what they offered. But then they showed up in my stream chat to then ask me more about the designs they offer, what the next project was, or to see if I was mad at them, of which I did clearly get uncomfortable and upset because in the direct DMs, come on, in private messaging, I clearly wasn't interested in anything more, so don't show up in my chat to ask for more projects. And they kept doing that. And at literally on my stream, I had to say, do not come into my chat asking for these things. And of course they went, oh, but sorry, I just want to see if you're mad at me. I'm not interested. Do not try to prey on my empathy and emotions, and I'm not interested. And I did make that pretty clear, where I was like, I'm not interested in anything more. I'll let you know if I am. So that really rubbed me the wrong way, among some other things. Plus, seeing how they used Canva, and I've used Canva for years to create things, it kind of rubbed salt in the wound. I just realized I wasted money on something I could do myself. No shade to the person who got my money. I just really didn't like the experience. And this isn't to say stay away from all graphic designers and everything. That was just one experience. Just know that they will be in your chat, DMs and all that stuff, following you and everything, looking for some way to get a commission or start the conversation. And I just feel like that's something that people ought to mention, that they can get very annoying. And also whether or not they're bots is also a thing too, because not all of them are real. Again, still within mainly the streaming annoyances that I've had. They do happen with content creation, YouTube and everything, like, oh, your channel is small, let me help you promote this way. And it's not worth buying bots. It's not worth trying to buy all these different things to get started, because you have nothing to start anyway, which actually feeds into my conversation about what it means to build community as a content creator, as a streamer, as someone getting started. And I don't necessarily even mean a community for your audience. I mean a community for you to be a part of. The other difficulties I found on social media is the fight to find other content creators on my level. I'm not interested in begging the bigger creators for advice. I don't think it would make any sense for me to go into their DMs or their streams or anything and constantly harass them with questions or needs for attention. To be honest, I don't think I have questions for them that will change what I currently understand about content creating. That's just where I am. I believe I know what I'm doing for now, and we'll just have to learn from experience and dedication. But everywhere I go, the community is filled with self-promoting, unengaged pseudo support system. I'm not the only one to notice too. You could go on Reddit or Twitter. I don't go on Facebook. Okay, I don't really go on there. And see what I mean. So many people shouting out that they're going live and to follow for follows and lurk and come support if you can, but it's just us here. Our audience isn't in the comments. Not usually. I'd rather go on my dead Twitter and dead Discord and say I'm streaming than to self-promo in the community tabs for self-promos. Like, it makes no sense to me. if I'm going to scream into a void, I'll do it on my own platform. I'll self-promo on my own platform. Like I said, please like, follow, subscribe. It's great to ask others for support, but we aren't actually supporting each other in these spaces. Maybe there was a space for that. Maybe they're just different, groups for that. But on the main like if you're getting started, if you're just getting started in content creation and you try to go find people, they're not exactly there. At least a lot of them. It's a lot of sifting through. And a lot of people's goals are to, for example, make money. And on Twitch, they have an affiliate status, so does Kick. I believe on YouTube, they first call it a partnership or something along those lines. Sometimes the words are interchangeable, but relatively speaking, affiliate has a low bar to entry, which is why I think it creates an oversaturation of self-promoting behavior. To get affiliate is to be able to enable ads so you can start making money. So that's another reason why people get into YouTube and content creation, is so they can start making that money on the side. Getting started, I joined communities with the full intention of trying to connect with other creators so I can learn from them and find support and or just network in general. I would love to do some collaborations, and I've got lucky and I got to do some collaborations. It's more fun that way. What this turned into at first is me making posts for follows and feeling stressed out on if and when I'll make affiliate or if people cared about my posts. The fallout of doing this method to get affiliate is that one can immediately get swept up into the numbers game of it all. We all heard of those big creators who are obsessed with numbers, and I think part of that is that at the very beginning, that's all you have to focus on as a goal in a lot of ways. That's not entirely true to say that every person who gets on there will be sucked into the need for numbers and everything like that. We can't distract from the fact that numbers are a large contribution to understanding the success of our channel as we grow moving forward. There's a reason why there's 100,000 follower and million follower plaque. Those numbers are quite significant. When it comes to getting affiliate status, like I said, it's a low bar for entry. So once you do that rush of follow for follow and lurk and everything, all you have is a lot of ghost followers if those streamers don't actually really care to check in on you and actually care about the content that you create, because they're just following you to boost you up, but they're not actually following you because they're interested in you. I've heard various cases of other streamers who've made affiliate and then didn't keep streaming. I also felt slightly deflated myself when I got affiliate. It's like, then what? Where's the next carrot? I had momentarily got stressed out with a separate goal stemming from my original goal, which is just meeting other people. And for me, streaming is no different than opening up my own fruit stand and having small talk with passerbys or vibing with others who run fruit stands. I wanted to join the community, and I did. Like I said, I got lucky. People came to my streams and they saw me and I was cool, I guess. A cool vibe. And I found some other people too who are actually a cool vibe. The people who I usually stream with and watch now are ones who happen to find me. They make this whole journey worth it, because solely alone would have been even more stressful. Which is why I'm making this video for those who may still be creating content and streaming all on their own. Not everybody has a friend group or everything that they start off with. Also, some people want to get into content creation but don't know the content that they actually want to make. Which is why I want to point out the problem with the dilution of social media. The ads. Once you hit affiliate, you can now make enough money through ads and subs. But there's a catch. If you spend all of your time shouting into the vacuum of the follow for follows and come lurk so I can hit affiliate, then now you have, in my opinion, to work even harder to earn $1. The ads can be very disruptive to the watcher's experience, since much of the community you could have been cultivating will be hit with these ads. You have an even smaller window of time to capture the attention and interest of a viewer when it comes to streams. The thing with streams is that not every moment is meant to be for entertainment. It's not like with YouTube where you can stop and rewind and still feel engaged if you miss something good. Especially when you're competing with established streamers who have a set schedule and community, or big brands that pay a lot of money to get an audience. I think just recently State Farm had a stream for whatever reason. I didn't watch it, but it was on the front page. Ironically, that would mean that small creators getting access to ads creates another difficulty for that creator to then grow. And I know it's more difficult as a streamer, but it's still just as difficult for YouTube creators too. Can you imagine you're giving a YouTube video a chance and then you're hit with a minute 30 of ads a couple minutes into the video that you weren't even entirely sure you wanted to watch? It's very likely that people will click off. Now, there's a lot more skill and science, I guess, in terms of algorithm and what those numbers look like. Perhaps you can place the ads in a different place, but it doesn't change the fact that once you monetize yourself, you must make content that is worth watching to keep your new audience coming in. So if you don't capture them, you're far less likely to retain them. And I know you're probably thinking, so how does the self-promos, bots, and ads get in the way of me building a community? Well, maybe I'm just not interesting. Maybe I suck at socializing. I know I gassed myself up earlier. I don't think I actually have an issue with socializing, but maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just the one having an issue finding more people. I should put myself out there even more. All true. But my other concern is the toxic aspect of this. People who try to find communities only to then end up on the self-promo tabs and not get any interaction beyond a follow are who I'm trying to look out for. You've been there and I've been there when trying to get started in this business of content creation. To become a content creator, has it never crossed your mind that maybe your first goal should be to seek to create a community within the community? Have you never thought about what that community looked like for yourself? Did you go in solo thinking that it was always going to be solo? Or are you trying to monetize a hobby so that you can be celebrated for doing something you'd likely do anyway? Or are you trying to fit yourself into a space to hopefully cater to the available communities so that you can get a slice of your own revenue pie? These are things that I definitely wanted to pose as questions to think about as you're getting into this space. And everybody comes into the space that had the same intention. I mean, now you have little kids saying they want to grow up to be content creators, but the original form of content creation was just expressing ourselves and people vibing with that. So now we're truly turning it into a business of sorts, and it feels as though people are just doing it for shallow reasons. And maybe they are. That's not entirely an issue. So many people show up to then use other content creators to feed off of. They don't actually want to create with them or are not interested in their content. And if you're going to get into content creation, you need to know that it's a lonely road for you to build the community you're looking for and to express yourself how you want. What that looks like is up to you though, of course. A compliment I've gotten, which seemed odd to me at the time, was that it was refreshing to see a newer streamer that actually speaks and interacts with the chat. It confused me because who watches streamers, decides to become a streamer, and then doesn't speak despite being on camera? Of course, faceless streamers and faceless content creators are a little bit iffy, but still, for streaming and content creation, it is also about interaction. People like to interact. If you were to leave a comment and it would just be the only comment there, then it's like, well, what's the point? This creator doesn't actually care. Now, does it? Same thing that goes for chat. Or how a streamer will show up to your streams and then expect you to show up to their streams as if they did you a favor. Same thing with making videos. Just because we know each other and subscribe and you came and you put a like but didn't even watch the video, does not then mean that you're like a part of my audience and I don't owe you my attention for your content either. That's not to say that, you shouldn't, engage with their content and help them out too. This is not supposed to be like a selfish conversation about how I don't want to invest in other streamers who support me because I don't think that they actually care about my content. But for those who clearly don't, I want to say that there's no point in engaging with them. They'll disappear the second that they're just not interested. And the reason why is that many people collaborate or connect to create content based on your following. They try to push themselves onto you so that they can get in front of your audience for attention. And I'm obviously not big enough for that, but I've obviously seen bigger creators deal with this in the comments, DMs, and all of the other fun ways that people try to get attention from you. It's also safe to say that this is something that has happened behind closed doors far more often than we like to imply, despite the amount of collaborations that we do see. I hate to see a large creators DMs. And a lot of big creators at the beginning, or at least long ago, simply created and connected with others. Those same creators have been at this for years, so they spend a lot of time connecting with people and creating communities. I almost want to argue it was easier for them back then, but then I would find a list of reasons why it wasn't. What you need to know is why you need to focus on the content you want to make and the community you want to build. Whether it's a community with other streamers and content creators, or the community within the audience that you want to be there for you. What is that going to look like? How do you want that journey to be? Do you want to feed into buying your way to the top? Is that the sort of inflated sense of accomplishment that you think will be worth it and fulfilling in the end? I highly doubt that, but please do not buy into self-promoting cycles that inevitably don't add to your overall experience besides a follower count. And if your content is good, people will follow and subscribe. And I truly empathize with you as well if you're also trying to find other people to connect with. It's extremely hard, where people are really just even getting on Discord, which is supposed to be more interactive and interconnected community-wise. There are whole self-promo pages where people just post their links and say that I'm going live. I do want to emphasize these are large Discords. Like, it'll just be for Kick, for YouTube, for Twitch. So how useless does it seem to try to beg for support? I shouldn't say beg, but try to find support through yelling into the void of a space where other people are also yelling the same exact things for individual self-interest. Your audience is out there. You'll find your audience based on who you are. Walking forward within your own authenticity of who you are works far better long-term than a quick 100 followers and some quick viewership, hoping that that will start a snowball momentum to get other people interested. Numbers have a role, but numbers are not what creates community. Numbers don't get you to the spaces where you want the bigger creators to be with you. That's just not how it is, which is why I wanted to share. It confuses me. Why can't we connect with each other instead of just trying to use each other, you know? But getting started in this can be tough, and there is simply so much to learn. From editing and moderating to best practices and understanding the numbers. I'm just getting started myself. You'll never become a successful content creator unless you do it for you and do it for your future community. And that includes the people you surround yourself with and the people who enjoy your content. If you found any value in the words I've shared with you today, drop a like and a comment, plus a follow wouldn't hurt either. Please check me out on all my other socials. Just let me know what your thoughts are. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts. With that being said, please have a good intentional moment for yourself. That was my finger wagging down here. I'm not gonna edit that out. I'm not refilming it. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.